Hey YouTube friends, after last week's video where I talked a lot about things that are going wrong for my plants at the moment, just that post-holiday and post-cyclone chaos where I've got lots of root rot and lots of pest problems, I thought we'd completely switch it over today. Let's talk about the things that are actually going right with my plants, because there really is so much that's going right. I mean, we're just coming out of summer and into autumn, and here in Southeast Queensland, my plants are still growing beautifully. Well, most of them are growing beautifully anyway. So I wanted to make today's video an April plant update. There are so many plants here beside me that I want to show you, but I don't want to make the video too long, so I guess I'm just going to wait and see which plants I feel like talking about as the video progresses. So if you're up for some positive plant stories, some mostly positive plant stories, as well as a little bit of show and tell, then stick around, and I really hope you enjoy this video. And most importantly, as usual, pick up a few tips for yourself along the way. And if we haven't met before, hey, I'm Mel. A few years ago, I was a complete plant tragic. I was seriously drowning one succulent after the other and absolutely had no clue what I was doing at all. And then one single snake plant that I rescued from our garden that was going to be bulldozed changed everything for me. So I'm definitely not a plant expert, but this channel is all about sharing with you my experience. I'm now happy to share that I have over 150 plants, most of them being happy, and plants are one of my very favorite things to talk about. If you remember, before I went on holidays, I transitioned most of my smaller plants over into my semi-hydro self-watering pot setup. And I was really nervous because a lot of my plants only had a week or so to get used to it before we went away on holidays, and a plant sitter was looking after them. So I wanted to give you an update on how a lot of those plants were going. So I'm going to start with my pink princess, only because that's actually the closest plant to me and the easiest to grab. So this guy, if you saw that pre-holiday video, was actually getting too big for the space. It was getting too tall, and I knew while I was away, it was actually going to hit the top of the shelf. It was already leaning over, not good for any plant. So I made the tough decision. Not only did I transition it into my self-watering pot setup, so I've got my chunky mix on the top, and then I've got some Mab Grow down the bottom. And you can see I've got it in a saucer with the water. I literally cut this plant in half and just stuck the other bit in here with the original stem. And I am so relieved to show you. Look at this. There are just new shoots. It's always a bit hard when I have it on cinematic mode. You just move it close up. Can you see that one? Look. Just new leaves galore coming up. I am so relieved, so happy. Look, there's just new leaves everywhere. So would I recommend chopping a plant in half, putting it into a medium that you haven't tried it in before, and then going away on a 3-week holiday? No, absolutely not. But luckily, it worked for me. If you saw those videos, remember it was the peak of summer, and I was trying to make it easier for the plant sitter with regard to watering. So this is just a very visual way to see when this guy needs water. Not only is it shooting new leaves all over where I've cut it, but it's grown so much since February. So what are we in now? So I did this at the start of February, and we're now mid-April. So I'm filming this mid-April. So whenever I do this setup, a 1/3 Mab Grow, or if I'm doing all Mab Grow, then same thing, put a 1/3 in, and then make sure I'm planting the plant above that and only filling the water to here, so I'm not drowning the roots, because initially the plants actually have soil roots, not water roots, but now the plant is choosing to grow down into the water and it's growing water roots. So I can be a little bit less fussy with how much water I'm putting in here. The important thing when you've got plants in these self-watering setups is once it grows the water roots. So for underwaterers like myself, I have to be a little bit more conscious. You can't let these water roots dry out, and I am a chronic underwaterer, so it's something that I'm really having to stay on top of, just always making sure there's that little bit of water in there, because you don't want those water roots growing out. But seriously, I cannot be happier with this plant. It was a bit of a risk, but it's going really, really well. Look at the colors, amazing. All right, next plant. So this is, I got this as a cutting, I think it was off eBay or Etsy, I can't remember. It's a variegated cast iron plant. Can you see that? And for such a long time, the cinematic mode, there it is. For such a long time, the plant only had 2 leaves. There wasn't very much variegation to it. I mean, given that it's not in very much light, so you're going to get less variegation, less colours, but it just had 2 leaves. And then if you remember my story, we had a foster puppy and he took hold of this plant and absolutely destroyed it. It was just chewed and scattered all through the yard. And this was actually the only leaf that was left. And traditionally, this has been a very slow grower for me. Look at that. It's still got the puppy tooth in it. The leaf is just not pretty. But for a long time, this is all that I've had. So I've kept the puppy leaf. So like all my other smaller plants that were in a less than a 20 centimeter pot, I've put this in a self-watering setup. And this is not ideal. I've actually run out of clear pots. I've repotted so many of my plants recently. I really need a Bunnings run. But if I had to have a plant that's in self-watering where I've got no visibility, this is actually a good plant because it is one of my slower growers. It's not as thirsty as some of my other plants. It is a little bit more forgiving with regards to water. I'm probably only having to top this up about once a week at the moment. So it's 100% in mud grow. Yeah, I haven't got any of my chunky mix in there. But if you notice, look how many leaves it's got. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 other leaves, which is super exciting. It's never, ever had this many leaves, even before the puppy chewed it. So you can see here, and look at this, look at the roots. It is just, oh my goodness. These roots have grown since February as well, since I put it in this setup. It is just so happy. It's never grown like this for me before in all the time. So as I said, I've had it since COVID, and excitingly, I think it's time that we can finally cut off the puppy leaf. Let's cut off the puppy leaf because I'm happy that it's got enough other healthy leaves. We can get rid of this one. Okay, here we go. Long time coming. There goes the puppy leaf. Look at this. I'm so happy. Can you see that? The colours. Beautiful. This plant this month, definitely in April, making me smile a lot, knowing that it was finally at a stage where I could get rid of that last leaf where it wasn't going so well. This is my, which one's this one? My Confetti Syngonium. So I was showing you guys this one. Can't remember if it was before I went away on holidays or just when I came back, but this one has never been healthy. It's a relatively new plant in my collection. I got it in the Boxing Day sales. See those beautiful pink variegations? I got it in the Boxing Day sales, and it's just, compared to my other Syngoniums, I find Syngoniums just such an easy genus to grow. They go bananas in my house. They grow like weeds, really. But this guy, not so much. So I was a little bit wary changing it into the self-watering setup. So I've got this in 100% mud grow, which I've got most of my Syngoniums. I haven't put any of my chunky mix. I haven't needed to put any of the chunky mix in. And it's looking much better. So this wasn't looking very pretty before I went. It just, you know how plants just don't look 100%. I just knew it wasn't happy. There was no obvious pests. When I checked the roots looked okay. It wasn't living its best life. But now, so since the holidays, I've changed it over to, I've put it in the mud grow, and I've actually put it in our ensuite underneath my Soltec grow lights. It's actually got a whole heap of new shoots coming up there in the middle, and it is just looking so much happier. The interesting thing though, all of my other Syngoniums that I also changed at the same time in February into this setup have all got the roots. So just like the Pink Princess, have all got the roots already, the water roots growing in here. This one doesn't yet. No roots yet, guys. I just find that really interesting. And also being in a clear pot, a lot of my other Syngoniums, I've got some plants to show you later that I'm thinking I'm already looking at potentially having to repot some of them. You can really see the roots starting to establish through here in a lot of them. And that's not the case with this guy. So I'm going to keep watching it. The new leaves are promising. They're not brown on the edges. Much happier than it was, but it's still not quite as happy as some of my other Syngoniums. So that's my Confetti. We're going to keep watching this one. I think I need to show you my Satin Pothos. So talking about plants that I think are going to have to be repotted really soon. If anyone's on my Boxing Day unboxing video, that's a mouthful. This plant came healthy from the start. Look at this with this leaf on it. Just so cool. You guys see that? I love it. Absolutely love it. It's been a favorite from the start. It's just been absolutely healthy and growing so well. So it's got my chunky mix in the top, and then it's got a little bit of mud grow down the bottom. But what you might notice, I don't know, so much water in here. Oops, I'm dripping everywhere. Let me just, it is going absolutely bananas. And look at the roots. Can you see them all through the pot? It is just growing and growing, and it's really starting to, I'm going to have to repot this soon. So I think out of all of my plants that I've swapped over into the self-watering setup, this actually gets the prize for the one that has grown the fastest. So many of my plants have grown amazingly well in this setup, and I'm so grateful to myself for taking the chance and swapping over. But I have to say, this Satin Pothos, absolute champion of the self-watering setup. It is, yeah, every day just grows and grows. Absolutely loving the setup. And as you can just tell from the roots, so looking like I'm going to have to repot this into a bigger pot sooner. Definitely need that trip to Bunnings. I don't have any more clear pots yet. I've always had a lot of the black ones. It's just really nice to be able to see through the clear light, getting to see that root development and just knowing how healthy, being able to see how healthy the plant is looking and watch those roots grow. There's something really nice about that. Definitely one of the plants that are making me smile in April. Those colours. And very soon, I'll take my first propagations from it too. I haven't propagated this guy yet. I just don't think, even though the leaves on it are really big and beautiful, I want this part to get a little bit longer first. I want it to grow a little bit more before I start taking propagations off it. So I've said to my plant club, not ready to propagate this one yet, but there will be some propagations. If we're speaking of propagations, then I need to show you my begonias, because I finally made the jump and I've taken propagations of both of these guys. Oh, I hadn't noticed, I hadn't taken the sticker off that 10 centimeter pot. I'll have to take that off. So this one's my escargot, and from memory I showed you guys in last week's video. So this is my other begonia. So I've only got 2 begonias at the moment, because if you guys remember, I did buy 3 last year. So I bought the escargot first, had it for quite a few weeks, like I want to say 6 or 8 weeks, just to make sure that I had some idea what I was doing with begonias, because like I had not previously owned begonias, and when I didn't die, because usually within 6 or 8 weeks you get a little bit of an idea. Had to move it around a few times and actually move it into the ensuite, because even though I thought Southeast Queensland was pretty humid, it wasn't humid enough, and I don't have any IKEA cabinets or anything like that. I haven't really needed humidifiers here. So the ensuite that was the choice, and as soon as I popped it in the ensuite, it was just so much happier, which gave me the confidence to buy 2 more begonias. The other one came sick. I opened up the box and it was floppy, it wasn't pretty. I had confidence because I don't know the plant. I was like, oh, it's fine. You know, the escargot looked a bit floppy when I opened it up as well. No, it just went from bad to worse, and so that got composted really quickly. But the Confetti, not so much. Look at the colours. And this guy just gets prettier and prettier, if that's possible, and bigger. So many new leaves on this. Just so pretty. And so I was confident. I cut a few leaves off that I'm propagating as well. Fingers crossed. It's been a week and a half. None of them have shriveled up and died. So hopefully I'm going to be able to show you some new babies as well. And this leaf here has started hanging down a bit. I'm about to cut it off and try another propagation with that. My sister and one of my neighbours actually is super keen on this one. So if I can get them a few propagations, that will feel really, really nice to be able to share this plant with people. And how exciting that my begonias are at a stage where I feel confident enough that I'm going to give propagation a go. Completely forgot. I took a photo that I'm going to put up on the screen because I've actually knocked this getting it out. But this was a full flower, which tells me that it's happy where I've put it. And I was super excited when it first started coming out the flower, because I haven't seen it flower before. I was like, what is that? That's a funny looking leaf. And then as it came out, I was like, oh my goodness, that's a flower. So I took some photos. I'll put it up in the B-roll for you, because I have bumped that getting it in and out. But the Kotobuki has had its first flower, so that's a definite highlight for me in April. If we're talking about highlights in April, the Kotobuki having a flower, thumbs up. I want to show you the Hoyas, because if you remember some of my previous videos, I have 2 Hoyas. One of them just has become thicker and thicker, and the other one actually came unwell. It came with black or brown spots on it. And I want to show you how they've both been going after I transition them into my self-watering semi-hydro setup. So do we start with the good news story or the bad news story? Let's go bad. Okay, so this was my Hoya compactus. And I say was because it is now a stick. There's no coming back from that. It's about to go to the compost. but I didn't want to compost it until I showed you guys. So it was a plant that I've had, I'd say I might have had it for 2 years. It was 2 plants, but they were little, never really grew, just didn't really do anything. As I was transitioning it over into the semi-hydro, I noticed that one of the plants was quite soggy around the bottom. I wouldn't say root rotted, but it had signs. And I transitioned it anyway because I thought, same, my plant sitters, they were in small pots. I'm like, he's not going to know to water it as often as it needs. So I transitioned it over into semi-hydro. I think it was on its way out anyway. That is the result. So this is my one plant that semi-hydro didn't save. I don't think it was a semi-hydro that got it. Same as the confetti, there was no obvious signs of pests that I could see anyway. You know, the compactors are a bit hard because the way all the leaves are, but there was nothing obvious that I could see about it apart from it just sort of started root rotting. And I think it's really important to show you guys this because not all plant parent things turn out positive, but I think that's part of the fun. Like, it's something to learn, I guess. Although I love the look of the compactors and I might try again later, they were never easy for me, even in some of my prime plant locations. So that is in our ensuite, so in the humidity and the grow lights. Normally I can get plants to go bananas in there. Or like my mini monstera that's growing just actually here behind you guys, that didn't like the humidity as much and is actually going a lot better in here under grow lights. And so I tried it in both. I tried it in grow lights without the humidity. I tried it in my back area underneath the clear perspex. It just didn't seem to matter where I tried this plant. I couldn't find its happy place. So it stayed stagnant for 18 months, maybe 2 years. Actually, time goes fast. And then it did this. It's not coming back, guys. Compost for this one, unfortunately. I have a better news story for you with this one, the Purple Pride. So for anyone, once again, watch my Boxing Day unboxing video, mouthful. The Purple Pride came with some black spots on the leaves. And so if you remember, I cut all of those leaves off. I cut it right back. Fungicide controlled it like crazy, kept it separate from my plants. I still did transition it over into my self-watering setup. So it's got, this one has got the Mab Grey down the bottom, my chunky mix up the top, because that's what my other Hoya is going really well in. And I'm happy to say it has new leaves. The new leaf has come through, look at that. And it's looking healthy. So I don't know that we're out of the woods yet because the plant is still small, but the new leaf is healthy. It is growing. I haven't checked this actually. Does it have roots? No, it doesn't have roots yet. So I'm hoping, cross my fingers, that this guy is over the worst of it and it'll just keep getting healthy now. So at the moment, I've got it sitting in the back area under the clear perspex. Baby steps, guys. That's a really good start. I've just treated it with some Wee the Wild neem oil. I've been treating it every 7 days with that at the moment while it's getting its feet again. So just if you're wondering what the dots were on it, it's just the neem oil spray. Well, that's it, guys, for my April planty update. I hope that you've enjoyed the video and I hope that you've got a few planty tips out of it as well. Most importantly, just to remember, your plants, your rules, and everyone's house and home is different. There are just so many different ways that you can look after your plants. If you're watching this video in the week that it's released, I hope that you have a really enjoyable Easter with your family, however you celebrate. And until my next video, take care. And remember, guys, you've totally got this.